The New York Knicks came into this offseason with the 3rd pick, $74 million in cap space, and high hopes. And boy, they struck out hard. With the top tier free agents signing elsewhere, and the second tier mostly re-signing with their own team. The Knicks didn't have many options. Even some decent role players were signing cheaper deals to join contenders. So the Knicks assembled a ragtag group of free agents. They are playing a risky game by signing role players to short contracts, but there is a chance it could pay off. The Knicks had an easy choice with the 3rd pick in the 2019 NBA draft and selected RJ Barrett. After averaging around 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists, while shooting 45% from the field and 31% from deep in his lone season at Duke, Barrett established himself as a top 3 prospect in the draft. He's a natural scorer with playmaking skills and has been a winner on every level up to the NBA. His 3-level scoring potential is intriguing. He's already good at drawing contact at the rim, decent post scorer, and dangerous operating in the mid-range area. He still needs to work on his 3-point shot, and his efficiency behind the arc and the free throw line is worrying. But his willingness to take threes in volume will keep defenders somewhat honest. His reliance on finishing with his left hand limits his scoring at the rim, and it doesn't help that his athleticism isn't the same in traffic. He's a good ball handler for his size with decent playmaking ability if he decides to pass, but if he decided to score on the possession, he will start to have tunnel vision. Defensively, he has the physical tools to be a good defender, and he does compete when he's part of the action. He won't become a lockdown defender if he carries a heavy load on offense. He'll definitely be able to hold his own. He does lose focus and effort when he's off ball on both ends of the floor. He'll be late on defensive rotations and doesn't screen or cut on offense. Currently, the Jalen Rose comparison seems fair. A jumbo ball handler, inconsistent shooter who can score 20 points on certain nights and still contribute to the team if he's struggling to score. His ultimate ceiling would be a modern-day Grant Hill, a two-way point forward who doesn't need a 3-point shot to dominate the game before his injuries. Barrett will and should play as many minutes as he can, playing as the 2, 3, or the 4. He's not going to get as many shot attempts with DSJ, Knox, and Randle on the team, so his well-rounded game will be on display, and his 3-ball development will be even more crucial. The Knicks traded for the 47th pick by sending the 55th pick and cash considerations to the Kings. With the pick, they selected Ignas Brazdeikis, who seemed to be a competitive shooting specialist coming out of college. His summer league performance has shown that he's much more than that. He was knocking down threes at a 58% clip and showing great playmaking ability. He's decent at 1 or 2 pull-up jumpers and has good fundamentals finishing at the rim. Defensively, he doesn't project to be a great defender because of his limited athleticism. He's a decent team defender and competes hard on that end. If he can improve his fundamentals on the defensive end, the Joe Ingles comparison would be on point. I'm not sure if he'll get much playing time, with better prospects and proven veterans ahead of him. The Knicks do lack shooting, but he'll only see more playing time later in the season. Heading into free agency, the Knicks struck out and made Julius Randle their first big acquisition, signing him to a 3-year, $63 million deal. Randle just had his best season, averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists, while shooting 52% from the field and 34% from 3. The Knicks have a lot of cap space to spend, and $21 million per year for a 25-year-old coming off a career year is fair. He's a mismatch on the offensive end, too quick for bigs and too strong for wings. Randle will be an established presence who can get you a bucket when needed and a nice stopgap until the Knicks' young prospects develop. His 3-point development will be key, especially on a Knicks team without much spacing from the young prospects. His pairing with Mitchell Robinson on the offensive end might not be a seamless fit. Both of them are the most effective with sufficient spacing. Randle did play with a center most of his time on the Pelicans, but both AD and Okafor have more off-the-dribble ability than Robinson does. Defensively, the Randle and Robinson pairing should yield decent results. Randle has never been known as a stopper, but his on-ball defense has been good and he's capable of guarding switches. His off-ball defense, on the other hand, was just bad. He makes a good defensive read from time to time, but his lack of rim protection, second effort, and awareness is underwhelming. The Knicks would benefit using a switching scheme with Randle and keeping Robinson near the rim. One of the glaring holes of the Knicks roster was power forward coming into the offseason. After getting Randle, they signed Bobby Portis to a 2-year $31 million contract with a team option in the second year. Also coming off a career year, Portis averaged 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist, while shooting 44% from the field and 39% from deep. He's a stretch big with an improving 3-point shot, but his below average efficiency at the rim and poor defense is worrying, and it doesn't worth that much. Giving a 24-year-old with a skill set a $15 million per year contract seems like an overpay, but considering the Knicks have money to spend and a team option, it's not that bad. His numbers are similar to Ersan Ilyasova, and that will probably be his NBA role if he doesn't improve his defense. The Knicks do need Portis' spacing, and he'll be the first big off the bench. Continuing with the theme of power forwards, they signed Taj Gibson to a 2-year, $20 million contract with a team option in the second year. Gibson will be a nice veteran presence to mentor the young core. He has developed into a great role player and expanded his shooting range. He's a good backup power forward, but he'll be playing behind Randle, Robinson, and Portis, assuming the Knicks will prioritize youth development. Paying your fourth big who doesn't space the floor $10 million per year seems a little too much, especially when Al-Farouq Aminu got a similar per year deal. The team option makes it an expiring contract, and contenders who need a backup big will come calling at the trade deadline. The Knicks could flip Gibson again for assets, but based on previous years, contenders usually trade for wings and role players who can shoot, instead of a big who can't space the floor. The team option also turned this deal into a trade chip Knicks offseason for cap-needy teams, but the Knicks also run the risk of losing them for nothing in a mid-season buyout. This will be the theme for the next few moves as well. The Knicks restructured Reggie Bullock's deal and got him on a 2 years, $8.2 million contract, with only $1 million guaranteed in the second year. This is a great signing, as the Knicks need the spacing and they can flip him again at the trade deadline or the next offseason. As I've said before, shooting specialists are easier to flip for assets at the trade deadline, and at just $4 million per year, contenders can easily package a trade offer. Only $1 million is guaranteed in the second year, so it's sort of an expiring contract, which could be useful in the upcoming offseason. Wayne Ellington is also a shooting specialist who they signed to a 2-year, $16 million deal, with $1 million guaranteed in the second year. This signing is basically the same as Bullock, just on a more expensive contract. $8 million per year for a shooting specialist shouldn't be hard to flip again at the trade deadline, and his contract can be used for cap relief next offseason as well. Backup point guard was one of their needs, and they filled that by signing Elfrid Payton to a 2-year, $16 million contract with a team option in the second year. This is a good buy low signing for a 25-year-old prospect. His all-around game will be welcome, but his lack of spacing makes it an awkward fit on the Knicks. It'll help that Payton developed good chemistry with Randle last season, but they might not see a lot of time together, since DSJ would be prioritized ahead of him. His signing also doesn't bode well for Frank Ntilikina. It pushes him to the third string point guard, and the Knicks have a lot of depth on the wings as well. I doubt there will be a market for Payton at the trade deadline, but again, he could be used as cap relief next offseason. If he plays well, the Knicks can bring him back for just $8 million, and if he doesn't, they can just cut him loose. The Knicks were able to nab Marcus Morris away from the Spurs by offering him a 1-year, $15 million deal. Talent-wise, this is a good signing and a nice mentor for Barrett and Knox. But since he's in his prime, he might take away some reps from their young core, similar to the Celtics' incredible depth last season. Paying him $15 million is around market value, and again, the Knicks have cap space to use. His tenure with the Knicks will be rather short because they will want to flip him for assets, and contenders could add depth with a 3-and-D player who can create for himself. Morris's deal isn't as functional as their previous signings, and trading him is the only course of action that'll benefit the Knicks. The Knicks didn't lose much in free agency. I'm surprised the Knicks didn't bring back Vonleh, especially since he only signed a 1-year, $2 million deal with the Timberwolves. He would have been a nice backup to Randle, but they replaced him with an older Taj Gibson on a more expensive contract. Here's the summary of their offseason moves. I would give the Knicks offseason a C-. The only reason the Knicks offseason seems worse is because of their hopes and expectations. Remove those and the Knicks offseason wasn't too bad. They got Randle, who put up borderline all-star numbers last season, and signed decent role players and young prospects to short-term contracts, which could be flipped again. These were decent moves for a rebuilding team. The reason I think they had a below average offseason is because they could have used their cap space to absorb salary and gain assets, like for Iguodala. But now they run the risk of the free agency signings walking away next summer without gaining any assets. Here's their depth chart for the upcoming season, and they'll probably start DSJ, Barrett, Knox, Randle, and Robinson. Marcus Morris could start instead of Knox, but they should develop Knox during their rebuild. The Knicks will probably be back in the same situation next offseason, so it'll be interesting to see if the Knicks can turn any of these signings into rebuilding assets. Please comment down below on what you think of the Knicks offseason. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, as I'll be analyzing how the other NBA teams did this offseason.